You're watching Gossip Canon, where we break down the biggest stories in entertainment. Subscribe and hit the bell so you're always up to date. What if I told you Ashton Kutcher wasn't just another Hollywood heartthrob who liked to party, but a first-hand witness to something much darker and possibly one of its victims? Because lately, Ashton's been dropping cryptic clues, nervous laughs, shaky stories, a chilling line he's repeated more than once. Diddy made me watch. At first, no one thought much of it. Just another wild celebrity anecdote, right? But now, in the middle of lawsuits, leaked testimonies, and Diddy's carefully curated empire finally crumbling, Ashton's words feel a whole lot heavier. Behind the scenes, these weren't just parties, they were power plays, manipulation, and according to multiple insiders, a twisted world where everyone had a role to play, whether they wanted to or not. So why did Ashton really walk away from Diddy's circle? What did he see that made him go silent for over a decade? And is he finally speaking out because he has no other choice? Let's break down what really happened between Ashton Kutcher and Sean Diddy Combs, and how one of Hollywood's most unexpected insiders may hold the key to secrets the industry has spent decades trying to bury. At first glance, Ashton Kutcher and Diddy couldn't seem more different. One's the goofy sitcom star turned tech investor, the other's a flashy music mogul with a reputation for excess. But back in the early 2000s, these two weren't just crossing paths at red carpets, they were inseparable. Behind the cameras, Ashton wasn't just another Hollywood friend, he was part of Diddy's inner circle. We're talking private jets, luxury mansion parties, exclusive invite-only gatherings. Ashton was there for all of it. He didn't just attend Diddy's infamous white parties. In 2009, he actually co-hosted one, and this wasn't a surface-level friendship. They'd hang out at each other's houses, watch football, even go on paparazzi-filled jogs through LA. Ashton once joked about how Diddy was so embarrassed at being outpaced on a run that he immediately started training for a marathon just to prove he could win. It all seemed like harmless fun, two rich, famous guys bonding over parties and jokes. But as more people come forward about what really happened at those parties, this friendship doesn't look so innocent anymore. Because Diddy wasn't just a nightlife king, he was building something else. A system of influence, where everyone in the room had a role. And Ashton, he wasn't just a guest, he was part of the furniture, the cool, funny, white celebrity who gave Diddy's scene legitimacy. And maybe, unknowingly, covered up something far more sinister. And the deeper you dig, the more disturbing it gets. But the warning signs weren't obvious at first, not until Ashton started saying things he clearly wasn't ready to explain. Fast forward to 2019, Ashton's sitting across from Sean Evans on Hot Ones, wings in hand, heat kicking in, questions flying. Then comes the moment. Sean asks about Diddy's infamous parties. Ashton freezes, laughs, looks away, then says something no one expected. "I've got a lot I can't tell." He chuckles nervously, dodges the question, says he's cycling through them in his head, then repeats, "Can't tell that one either." Back then, it played off like a cheeky celebrity moment, just Ashton being Ashton, funny, spontaneous, mysterious. But now, with everything coming out about Diddy, those words hit different. He didn't say he didn't have stories, he said he couldn't tell them. And when someone with first-hand access to Diddy's inner circle, someone who was there for the wildest nights and the most exclusive moments, starts tripping over memories that sound too strange or dangerous to share, you've got to wonder, what exactly did he see? What is he afraid of revealing? Because Ashton's not the only one who's kept quiet for years, but he is one of the few people who might have seen the machine from the inside and lived to talk about it, only now it seems he doesn't know how. And then came the words that sent chills down everyone's spine. "He made me watch." When Ashton said he made me watch, most people didn't know what to make of it. Was it a joke, a metaphor, a weird Hollywood one-liner? But what if it wasn't? Because now, with multiple lawsuits against Diddy painting a picture of a man who allegedly used power, fear, and coercion to control people in his orbit, Ashton's cryptic words take on a terrifying new meaning. Insiders are now saying that Diddy's parties weren't just wild, they were orchestrated. A place where boundaries blurred and privacy vanished. A place where guests weren't just expected to show up, they were expected to participate, or at the very least, stay silent. And Ashton, he may have been caught in the middle, not just as a witness, but someone forced to watch, to be present for moments that weren't optional, that weren't okay. This wasn't about fun or fame anymore, it was about control. People close to the scene have described those parties as having a cult-like atmosphere. Phones were banned, security was tight. What happened inside stayed inside, until now. Ashton, as close as he was, might have seen things he didn't understand at the time, or things he didn't want to remember. And the most chilling part, he wasn't the only one. Rumours say other young stars, like Usher, like Bieber, may have been involved in similar ways. Not as guests, but as pawns. So when Ashton backed away from it all, was he just growing up? Or was he escaping something? On the surface, Ashton Kutcher's exit from Diddy's world looked like a classic Hollywood story. He met Demi Moore. He fell in love. He traded late-night clubbing for quiet dinners and long walks with a movie icon. But when you pull back the curtain, that romance may have been more than love. It may have been an escape plan. According to Diddy himself, the partying stopped the moment Ashton got serious with Demi. He even told Time magazine, "That was the end of our clubbing. No drama, no confrontation, just silence." Because in Diddy's world, you're either in or you're out. Once Ashton stopped playing along, the calls stopped, the invites dried up. He went from inner circle to invisible. But here's the thing, Ashton didn't storm out. He didn't expose anything. He slipped away quietly, under the radar, and that's what makes it so suspicious. Insiders say Ashton used his relationship with Demi as a shield, a way to step back without raising suspicion. Telling people, "My girl doesn't like those parties," was a clean excuse. No fights, no questions. Just a polite exit from a very dangerous room. But it wasn't just about himself. As Ashton got closer to Demi, he reportedly started seeing how toxic the whole scene really was. How women, especially young women, were pulled into Diddy's orbit and chewed up by the machine. He didn't want that for her. He didn't want that for anyone. And maybe, just maybe, that's when it all clicked. This wasn't just nightlife. This was survival. Ashton wasn't just choosing love. He was choosing freedom from a system that many say you don't leave unless you're broken or brave. Ashton wasn't the only star in Diddy's orbit, not by a long shot. Once he stepped away, the pieces started falling into place, and suddenly names like Usher, Justin Bieber, DaBaby, and even Jay-Z started getting dragged into the conversation. And not just because they were famous. Usher, for example, has always been tied closely to Diddy, first as a teenage prodigy under his wing, then as a frequent party companion. But insiders claim their relationship went way beyond music. Late-night studio sessions, private events, and trips that raised eyebrows even back then. Some reports suggest Usher might have seen or experienced things no young artist should. Then there's Justin Bieber. Just a kid when he entered the industry, but already rubbing shoulders with elite insiders. He once described Diddy as a mentor and said they had a 48-hour hangout. That may not sound sinister until you realize Bieber was just 15 years old at the time. And what about DaBaby? His rise was meteoric, and his association with Diddy came at a time when access to elite circles meant everything. The whispers say those private parties weren't just about networking. They were about loyalty, submission, and power games behind closed doors. But the biggest shock. Some industry insiders suggest that Jay-Z wasn't just a bystander, that he may have been fully aware of Diddy's tactics and in some ways enabled them. Even Beyoncé, according to rumors, may have found herself pulled into that vortex of influence, glam, and manipulation. Now, to be clear, these are all unverified claims. Nothing has been proven. But when Ashton, someone with direct access to Diddy's world, starts alluding to secrets he can't tell, it makes you wonder just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Because if Ashton was forced to watch, who else was watching with him? And worse, who wasn't just watching, but participating? Now, before we crown Ashton Kutcher a whistleblower or a survivor, let's be honest, his record isn't spotless. In recent years, Ashton's public image has taken some serious hits, and for many, those cracks in his nice guy persona run deep. Remember when he and his wife, Mila Kunis, wrote character letters defending Danny Masterson after he was convicted of violent assault? Ashton didn't just support his former That 70s Show co-star behind the scenes. He vouched for him in court, saying he trusted him enough to leave his daughter alone with him. That statement didn't age well, and neither did the backlash. People weren't just shocked, they were furious. It raised questions about Ashton's judgment, his priorities, and more importantly, his loyalty to the wrong people. And let's not forget the moment from Punk'd that's resurfaced in recent years, where Ashton sexualized a 15-year-old Hilary Duff on national television. At the time, it was shrugged off as edgy comedy, but looking back, it's part of a troubling pattern that's now impossible to ignore. So when Ashton starts speaking out about Diddy, when he drops hints, half-truths and cryptic confessions, some people don't trust it. They wonder, is this genuine guilt? Or is he trying to control the narrative before someone else exposes him? Because when you've stood silently beside monsters, or worse, defended them, your truth becomes a little harder to believe. Still, that doesn't mean Ashton isn't telling the truth now. It might just mean he stayed silent for far too long. For years, Ashton stayed quiet. No exposés, no interviews, just cryptic jokes, nervous laughter, and vague one-liners about things he couldn't talk about. But silence, especially in Hollywood, has a price. Because while Ashton moved on, got married, built businesses, raised kids, the truth didn't disappear, it festered. Behind closed doors, the same toxic system continued. Parties happened, people got hurt. And all the while, those who could have spoken up didn't. And now that the walls around Diddy's empire are collapsing, Ashton's cryptic remarks suddenly sound less like nostalgia and more like guilt. "I've got a lot I can't tell." That line doesn't feel cheeky anymore, it feels haunted. Because Ashton wasn't just a fly on the wall, he was in the thick of it, front row, backstage, on the guest list. He watched the gears of a powerful machine turn. He saw the control, the manipulation, the blurred boundaries. And for a long time, he said nothing. Maybe he didn't fully understand what he was witnessing back then. Maybe he did, and just didn't know what to do about it. Or maybe, like so many others, he stayed quiet to protect himself. But here's the thing about secrets. They don't stay buried forever. And now, as Diddy faces legal storms, as former insiders start talking, as old friends start vanishing, the spotlight is swinging toward everyone who was there, everyone who knew. And Ashton, he's not just a celebrity anymore, he's a witness. As Diddy's empire implodes, the smoke is clearing, and what's left behind is a trail of broken silence, shattered trust, and names we never expected to hear. And now one of those names is Ashton Kutcher. He wasn't just a party guest, he wasn't just a friend. He was embedded in the machine, close enough to see everything, but far enough to stay quiet. The cryptic jokes, the dodged questions, the nervous smiles, they weren't random. They were the echoes of someone who stood too close to the fire and finally realized how hot it really was. Maybe Ashton is trying to clear his conscience. Maybe he's finally brave enough to tell the truth. Or maybe he knows the secrets are about to come out with or without him. Because the truth has a way of rising. And once the door cracks open in Hollywood, it never stays shut for long. What did Ashton see? What did he endure? And who else is still hiding in the shadows? This wasn't just about parties, it was about power, about silence, about survival. Ashton didn't just leave the party early, he might have escaped it. And as more names surface, more stories unfold, and more darkness comes to light, one thing's certain: this is just the beginning. And that's today's blast from the cannon. What do you think about all the drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you're first in line for the next celebrity explosion. This is Gossip Cannon signing off, where the truth isn't just spilled, it's detonated.